Today we're going to talk about rebuilding the vent windows on the 55. We've got the original vent windows and they're actually in rough shape. So let me show you kind of what we have. This is the vent window that came out of the car. And you can see the glass. It's filthy, but the chrome frame around the glass is all pitted. It's actually just rusted and pitted. If you look at the rubber, all this rubber here is absolutely dried out. Show you the inside of it. It's just falling apart. You can see the cracks in it. You can see it's all gone. Down here, it's literally just flaking. It's so dry that it's hard and brittle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the original frame. And what I mean by the frame, it's just the outer frame and this stainless piece here that goes down. We're going to keep that. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the glass. We're going to replace the chrome frame, and we're going to replace the rubber gasket that goes around it. This is a brand new window. We ordered all new windows for the car. The windshield's new, the side windows are new, and the vent windows came with it. Sometimes when you order glass, it doesn't come with the chrome frame on it, so you have to put the chrome frame on your new glass. This kit that we got came with the chrome frame on it and the glass set in place with the rubber channel that goes inside. So this is all one piece. We don't have to actually put this together. The kit that we're going to use, it's a Dan Chuck kit, and I'll show you, there's the part number there, if you can see the part number. So it's a Dan Chuck kit. I've already rebuilt one side, so that's why it's open and one side's missing. But I'll show you the pieces. There's only really three pieces that come with the kit. This is the inside where the window will close. And then this piece is the rubber that goes around the window that I just pointed out that's all dry rotted. This piece here, we're not actually going to use it. This is the window setting channel. And you look at it and you see it. This actually is what you use to put the glass into this chrome. So since this already came together, we don't need this. Up top here, this is already taken apart. Well, it's loose, but there's a screw right here on the top. We're going to take this screw out, and that'll separate these two pieces enough to get your glass out. This is in such bad shape that the glass is actually falling out. So before we can start the process, I want to show you something. There's normally this piece right here that sits on this frame. It literally just slides down into place. So normally you'll have this piece here, and it's a rubber gasket that goes in here. This one's dried out and rotted, so it's hard to get to the screw that's in there. Just grab it up here and it'll slide right out. That's what it looks like. There's nothing actually that holds it. It's just in there by friction, and the piece that goes across the top holds it into place. So once you slide that out, you can see your screw right there. So now we can take our screw out. Alright, so our screw's apart. Now that we got this screw out of here, these two pieces will come apart. You can see that there. This is so dry rotted that it's not even holding the window in anymore, and the window will come out. So once you get the top part out of the window, you literally will just pull it and slide it straight out of here, and it comes right out. So if you look in here, this part here of the top part of the window, it's not pressed in, but as you start to pry it back, you'll see this little thing start to expose itself. That's where it all gets press fit into. So it's press fit on all the way around here. So we're going to just have to pry that out of there. If we take the window with the rubber that we just pried out, this is the track that I was telling you about that we're going to press fit the new weather stripping in to sit in. We're going to take this piece out here. So to be able to get to that, there's a channel that runs in here. And the factory did it with two separate sections. one section up here that had the stainless on it, and then another section down here. With the replacement kit that we're getting, it comes with a solid one-piece channel. And you can see there's a slight bend in this, so we got to fix that bend too. But to get this out, we have to take out the rivet here, here, and there's one right here that we're going to take out. So I'm going to drill out the 3 rivets that are holding this one piece of channel. And you can see how rusted it is down in here. It's completely gone. This one on the top section, I'm literally just going to pry that a little bit, and that'll expose the one rivet down here. And I'm going to leave that one because it's holding the frame together. And I'm going to just pry that one out. I'll show you here. Now what I'm going to do, I've got these 3 rivets that I was saying. I'm going to drill them out. Alright, now by taking those rivets out, that allows this inner channel to come out here. It's kind of being held in with a little bit of rust. It's kind of hard to get out. But this is the inner channel that we're going to replace with a new felt liner. And you can see how much rust and corrosion there is in that old channel. So we're going to clean that up and paint that as well. That's the lower section. And that's kind of where it's bent. So we're going to try to bend that back and see if we can get that straight. But we still have this upper fur channel that we got to get out. There's only the one rivet here that's holding it. I'm not going to take that rivet out. All I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pry this out and then peel this back. And then I will take my grinder and clean up the little bit of metal that's going to be left behind. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to take it from this end and just pry it out, pry it off. And you can see it starts to come up. Comes up pretty easy actually. And then this is where the other rivet, the last rivet is. If you just peel it back, it comes right off and it tears the metal. And that way I don't have to take that last rivet out. It's still being held together. And actually this one came apart pretty clean. So this piece here came in our window felt kit. It takes the place of both of these pieces. It's cut to shape to take the place of both of them. It's got the stainless steel beading on both sides. It's got the felt inside for the window to go up nice and smooth and not scratch the glass or the frame. It's metal backed. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in place, and then it has screws that come with the kit. We're just going to put screws in where the rivets were. Or you could rivet it if you wanted to rivet it back together. The other reason we had to take this off is these little tangs right here is what's holding our last piece of the rubber gasket. This will be our new gasket to go on here. But the only way to get it off is to peel back these little tabs on the back. And you can see the tabs, I think here, they just get bent over to hold it on. So if I want to take those off, you just take your small screwdriver, you're going to get up underneath these tabs and bend them back up. Alright, you just do them one by one. And then that piece of rubber will come out. Now we're left with our metal frame. This is a perfect time to clean this up a little bit. We're going to put a little paint on it because this is all unprotected in here. There's no paint on here. This was rusted in here, or is rusted in here, so we're going to clean that up a little bit. I've got to try to bend this back. I don't know how this got bent like it is. Can you see the bend in it? I think you can. Right there's a good shot of it. I don't know how that got bent so bad like that. If you look here and we put our channel in, you can see just how off that is at the bottom, how bent that is. If you look at it, it's straight at the top and it's bent there. So we'll try to get that straight because the window will never go up and down with that bend in it. So I'm probably just going to put it in the vise and try to put a little pressure on it and see if we can get this bent back here. But I'm just grabbing it right where the bend starts, and I'm going to try to bend this piece back. And let's see what happens here. I'm putting my channel in, and it's just off the slightest bit right there, so I'm going to just try to bend it a little bit more. Now if you look at it, we got that little bend out of it, and when I put this channel in it, it falls right into place and locks in. So we're good. I'm happy with that fit. It's nice and straight now. So what we're going to do is we're going to just clean this up, paint this, sand some of that rust off. Not going to really video that because that's self-explanatory. You stand down and paint it. So now we got the window frame painted and sanded, and we're going to work on getting the rubber piece in. So this is our new piece of rubber. I'm going to show you the frame here and how this goes in. This frame here, this lip, goes to the inside of the car, the interior of the car, and this frame is actually for the passenger side of the car. If you look at the frame itself, there's a channel that you can see runs all the way along the bottom. It runs down the side, and it stops abruptly right here. This is the top section of the channel, and there's nothing for the rubber to lock into. Let me show you what I'm talking about as far as the rubber goes. So I don't know if you can see this, but this rubber, if you pull the two sides apart, there is a, I don't know, like a little lip or something in there where it's going to press fit and get locked into that channel. If you look at the rubber, one side has the channel that goes all the way around and comes down the back. And then there's one side that's just completely flat. There's nothing there. So this is obviously going to be the top of our frame. And another thing that I want to point out to you, these are made from Danchuck. So if you look closely at the rubber, at the seal, DMC, Danchuck Manufacturing, but there's an R. This one's for the right side of the car, and the other one, there's an L there, so it's the left side and right side. You don't want to get these confused. My channel ends here, so I'm going to look that my channel ends there. I'm going to set it in there, and I'm going to start on this end, because this is where the channel starts. This end is going to remain loose until we put it all together. So I'm going to flip it over, and you want to have this fitting snug in here. So I use a small screwdriver like this to help push the rubber in. All I'm going to do is peel back this little flap right here, and I'm going to push the rubber down into that little channel. And I'm pushing it with my hand as I'm doing that, and it'll start seating in that little channel. So what I've done is I've got this side, basically one side is going into that channel. And I can feel it kind of snap into that little rubber, into that channel, and lock itself in there. But it doesn't really lock in both sides. As you can see, this side here is still sticking up. I don't know if you can see that piece right there. But it's still sticking up. The other side's locked down. I'm just going to flip it over, peel back that little rubber groove, and I'm going to just push this into the channel. So that's the start of it. I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. And I'm really just getting one side in first. I'm concentrating on just one side at a time. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. This side here, I've got it pushed completely up, and it's nice and snug in the channel. This side, I still have to work. So this side, I still have to work a little bit. And there's that little rubber lip that I was talking about. So all I'm doing is I'm going down to the bottom section here, and I'm pushing that in with my screwdriver. And as that goes in, it fully seats down into that section. And we're coming up to the end here, and you can see the end matches the end there, so we've got our fitment good. And then this piece basically will get bolted in or screwed in right here. And when everything goes together, it's all going to hold it together. So now we need to take the other rubber trim piece. It's got this lip on it. It's going to sit down in here like this, and it goes into these holes. All right, so we're just going to put it in to where those holes are. I'm going to temporarily bend a couple of them back just to hold it. And the metal's not hard. You can actually bend it with your fingers. Just so it doesn't move on me. We're going to take our new glass and we're going to test fit it into the frame. A lot of times this rubber right here for this section is really, really tight. And a lot of times the hole up here is not very well defined either. There's a metal frame in here to help hold this glass. So we're going to just see if it'll fit in here. So that actually went in fairly good. Just slide it all the way down. And in the top section, so it's not wanting to go in the top hole. I have to do this on the other side. So all I'm going to do is take a drill the size of this and just run it through the rubber right there. There's the hole it's supposed to go through. A lot of times it's blocked with the molding rubber or something else, and it won't let it get in there. So like I said, all I'm trying to do is I'm going to get a drill bit that is the same size as that, because I just want that to go up in there nice and snug. I don't know if you saw some of that rubber come out of there, but that little bit of rubber can help hold that up. So we're just going to slide this back in here. And it should go in a little bit easier this time. So it's still giving me a little bit of a fitment issue. So a lot of times when these are manufactured, you get a little bit of leftover rubber that kind of just fills in that hole, and it's keeping, there's enough of it there. There it is. Just that little bit of rubber was blocking the hole, and it wasn't letting that piece seat in there. So I'm just making that hole a little more defined where that'll go into and seat properly. I've had that problem on a lot of these, so it's something to make sure you pay attention to. Feel it went into that hole that time. It was a lot easier. So what we're going to do now, that's literally the fit of the window. It sits in that little hole there. It's snug. And now I'm just going to put my screw that goes back on here to hold the whole assembly together. So now I've got a nice consistent gap along this edge here. I'm happy with that for my other piece of rubber to fit in. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the window, and I'm going to take this rubber now, and it sits down in this way with this lip up, going to the bottom. And that's when the window closes, it closes onto that lip to help it seal. Now I don't know if you can see it there's a little bit of open spot right here. We don't want so much of a lip there that it's going to protrude and push this forward, because the window will never close. And it's the same thing on this end here. A lot of times I'll just take the rubber and actually trim it out of there so this rubber sits flush. Alright, so this I'm having a little bit of tightness right up here, and I'm going to try to resolve that. What I think the issue is, and I had it on the other side. If you look down in here at this rubber piece right here, I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can see that. That piece of rubber right there, this little flap, is causing the other piece of rubber to sit up higher. And because it's sitting up higher, it's making the window a little bit tight. So I'm going to just trim that out with a small pair of scissors. So that's that little piece of rubber I was telling you about right there. That much is pushing the weather stripping up. So with that trimmed out of there, this piece should sit a little bit more flush. So what I'm going to do, this end is a little bit tight, it's pushing up in here. I'm just going to take my scissors. You can feel there's a metal frame in there, and this rubber is going a little too far past that metal frame. I'm just going to trim that back that much. It's getting a lot better. Just by doing that little bit of trimming, I think that's going to be perfect. So now, all I'm doing now is I'm going to go bend those tabs. This is closing, so it's a nice snug fit. And the window operates and seals good along this area right in here. We got a good seal on the weather stripping on the back side. It will loosen up a little bit as you use it and as time goes on. But now that that's in, all I'm going to do now is go back and bend all my tabs, and I'm going to push it nice and tight up against the back side. The last thing we're going to do is now we're going to put in our the fuzzy channel for the window. If you remember when we first started taking everything apart, we drilled out these 3 holes. So these 3 holes here we're going to use as guides, and we're going to put the channel in, and we're going to put the screws that we have new screws. We're going to put the screws in these 3 spots here. So what I'm going to do is put it in so it's just flush with the top aluminum right there, or stainless. And I'm going to slide that up so that it's flush, nice and flush right there. That's what we want, just like that. And this part will stay in here like I said. This part, we're just going to put a couple screws in here on the bottom part. So if you look, this channel is longer than it needs to be. So I'm just going to go in and mark it to where this piece of metal folds over right there. Hopefully you can see that. Because that metal's folding over, it's keeping this piece from going in and seating all the way down. So I'm going to mark it, and we're going to cut it. What I'm going to do is just mark it with a Sharpie. Just like that. Alright, by cutting that, now you can see it fits down in there nice and snug. That's what we want. I'm just going to take an old block of wood. So the screws we're using, this is a 4-channel screw kit from Danchuck. We only need 3 of them. So if you look at the screw, it's got the beveled head. So when we tighten that down, it's going to pull down, and there is a slight bevel to the back of the metal here. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. But the screw will pull the channel nice and tight, so it's not going to hit the window at all. So there you have it. We've got it all back together. It operates nice and smooth. We got the new fur channel all the way down. I hope you guys found this video useful on how to rebuild your vent windows. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share.